Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and other amoebas. We welcome you to Imola in the heart of Italy, to the AOR opener of the Season 4 of the Endurance Championship. We welcome you to the Apex Online Racing Broadcast Center on behalf of myself, Braden Hill, and my co-commentator, Nicholas Domino. We welcome you and thank you for joining us. We're going to start off by jumping straight into a little bit of a track walk here of the Imola circuit that we will be featuring today. We start our lap off on the Variante Bassa straightaway, heading into the Variante Tamburello, or the Tamburello chicane. Then the Villeneuve chicane, following shortly after the tight left-hander at Tosa, before a very fast left-hander turn 9 Piratella into Acqua Minerale, as you can see there. At the top of the hill, Variante Alta, at the very top of the circuit, before heading quickly downhill into the Ravazza at the bottom, double left-hander, and back onto the straightaway. We welcome you in here as the drivers are currently getting queued up for our session. And while we wait for them to get ready here for the start, I'd like to welcome in my co-commentator and personal confidant, Nick Domino. Nick, how you doing?
Right, I'm looking forward to this. Here's about it. It's racing in the air. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be intense. It's gonna be fast paced. A lot of drivers are gonna compete here today, and only one team will really get what they came here for. So it's gonna be challenging. It's a challenging track. We are definitely not starting out on one of the easy ones. Imola is a very technical track, but what is really difficult about this track is just the curbs and the chicanes. The demand on the tires throughout this whole race is gonna be great.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. We will start off the race at about 5 a.m. local time in Imola. We are currently just waiting for all of the drivers to grid up here. If you're joining us from our Super Bowl session, you'll understand our top 10 list of drivers here, but we'll go ahead and kind of list through them since we had something of an abrupt end at the end there. We're still learning some of the new software that we're using. We start off with the number 690 car. That is our good friend Jerry, as we've named him, the Mercedes-Benz AMG. That is the number 690 car. That's the Beaver Grease Racing team. Then we have our number 117 Porsche. That's a Fanta-themed car, number 117, currently piloted by Sam Maudsley, rather. About 30 seconds till the race start here. Then in the third position, number 97, that is the first of our BMW M4 GT3s. That is car number 97, going to be taken by Andreas Borchers to the start line as the driver is starting to turn on those engines. Now our second of the BMWs, the number 7 car, the turquoise streaked on a black background number 7. That is our Your Way Racing team. 3 Polish drivers on board of that car. Then just after that is the first of the Aston Martins, the 911, as we discussed a little bit earlier, stealing from the normal number of the Porsche. So as the drivers get rolling off here, here we go, and just going to adjust here what we're looking at. Now we're looking at the right stuff. This is Konstantin Romanenko in the number 15 AMG Mercedes. That is the Team Valles Ukraine car. All Ukrainian drivers on board of that. Then the very lovely white, black, and red themed Porsche number 92. That is our Team Porsche Shumiskins car. 3 drivers on board that, currently piloted by Mr. Taryn. At that car as we continue down the line to 8th position. Antonio Shiro in the number 62 Mercedes AMG with a little bit of a mustache on the front there. Quite fond of that. Moving along to our 9th starting position. That is Luca Ziege in the position number 9, number 22 Porsche. That is the... let me look here. What team is that? That is Porsche Spinale team. Hopefully they don't live up to that name early on in the race. Then in number 10 position, that is Matthias Haki in the number 121 Ferrari. That's the first of the Ferraris in the field, the Ferrari 296 GT3, new to the Assetto Corsa Competizione roster. Just behind him, we have the 11th starting position. That is the number 17 Mercedes AMG. We welcome to the grid the Creme de la Course car there. Then the number 171 Dive Bomb Motorsport car. That is the, I believe, 5th of our AMG Mercedes up the front of the field. Starting in the number 12th position, number 13th is the 977 car. That is the Glitch Motorsport car. Very lovely livery on that, and white, white, yellow, and black. Then we start with our Aston Martin in position number 14. That is the 111 car. Recaro on the side of that car. Then we have our CrowdStrike car. That is the number 83 Mercedes AMG car. That is our Sensible Racing. Hopefully they do live up to that name, starting in the 15th position. That is your starting grid as the drivers now make their way into Rivazza, coming through turn 17, heading for turn 18. A little bit of a checkup there. Hopefully no contact, as hopefully the stewards will have nothing to do to begin this race off. And as we get ready to go, they're holding currently station with the number 117 car on the inside, the 690 on the outside, as the drivers roll towards the start-finish line here. Varia Devassa is going to be home for these drivers as we get ready to set off for 9 hours of racing in the heart of Italy. We will go into the Italian sun, and we will watch that beautiful sunrise. Red lights on the board there. You can see to the left-hand side of your screen. Holding station here is the Porsche on the inside, just waiting. Coming to the line here, and the green is out. Green flag is out for the opening round of the Apex Online Racing Season 4 Endurance Championship here at Imola. 9 hours on the clock, and 9 hours these drivers will have to survive if they want to win. We watch now the number 117, moving back to the 690 here, all holding station. Very, very sensible driving at the front of the field. Nothing too exciting to see towards the rear of the field, at least thus far. Looking now at the number 690 in second position. That was our pole sitter, so fell a little bit back here on the start. The fantastic looking Porsche leading in front, about car length and a half the distance between the two of them. A little bit of side-by-side action, a little bit further back in the pack, but nothing of note as of yet, so a clean start thus far. And we get ready to set off for 9 hours. Very sensible driving, as we've come to expect from the Apex Online Racing series of championships.
Yeah, I've just lost connection, mate. So just keep on going. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm on my own for a little bit here. We now look at the leaders. Let's see if we've got anything kind of interesting going on in the back of the pack. Looks like we've had some changes for position. Actually, our biggest mover thus far is the number 176, currently driven by Alexander Ramatsev, currently in the AMG all the way back. He's up 8 positions since the start of the race. Our biggest loser thus far is Michel Rizzo in the number 115. You see currently going down the inside, looking for a move on the Lamborghini, who are outside on the right-hand side as they head into the Rivazza set of corners. Has the advantage, and that will be a pass done for Michelle, so that'll be +1 position for her. And continuing to move forward is the number 176, Alexander Ramatsev, currently in the AMG. A great job he is doing to move his way up towards the front of the field here in the very beginning. We apologize for some technical difficulties we're working through here. Nick, let me know when you're back. But we now look... Oh, big move there from the 92 Porsche, trying to get to the outside of the Mercedes. Not quite able to make that happen, but he is absolutely flying, is Nigel Terran, in the 7th position, currently scored. Trying to make a move to the inside here. He will actually get to the inside of the Mercedes AMG. A little bit wide there for Antonio on the... Or sorry, that's Pablo. Pablo Polachuk on the outside now. He's actually going to throw it around the outside. Ooh, that's close racing there. Not quite able to make the passes to number 92 in that high-speed left-hand corner as they head into Aqua Minerale. Very clean start from these drivers, exactly what we come to expect from Apex Online Racing. And currently waiting on any messages from the stores. We're doing well so far, but still 9 hours to go. You can see the headlights glaring as they head into the top of the hill at Variante Alta, and now back down towards Lavazza. We now are going to move back towards the front of the field to take a look at the lead here. A actually rather healthy lead of about 3, 4, 5 car lengths for the Fanta-themed Porsche, number 117, up in front of the field. Just behind him, the 690 still holding station. And in third place, same as he started, is the number 7, Mateus, coming. So that is the Your Way Racing BMW, doing quite well in the back there. All single file for about the top 10 positions. They're really quite sensible start here, as we just start to see the first glimmer of sunlight. The headlights still definitely necessary for these drivers to be able to run as much on the edge of grip as they are. Let's take a look towards the back of the field. We've actually had one car already into the pit lane, so we've certainly had incident. We see that is the number 284, Sir Smoggy. That team is, let me take a look here, number 284 already in the pit lane. That is Cracked Racing, AMG Enjoyers. So an unfortunate start to the race for them, as well as for the BMW just coming past as well. That is the 333 Richard Benz driven car coming into the pit lane, and quite a bit of damage you can see to that. So that is certainly not something we want to see there. Some very close racing here between a couple of Ferraris, being led actually by an Aston Martin as they head through the Aqua Minerale set of corners. Actually, interestingly of note, not very many Ferraris up in the front of the field, despite being one of the most popular choices in the field. I believe there was about 13 or 14 entries of the Ferrari 296 GT3 that was recently released onto the Assetto Corsa Competizione service. So very well, job well done from the KUNOS team to get that into the simulation, but not quite what those teams would have expected or would have hoped for in terms of speed at the front of the field thus far. We now move along to some side-by-side action. This is for the 7th and 8th position, a fight between Vasily and Nigel. Pablo seems to have pulled ahead of the number 92, Nigel Tarrant, falling back just a little bit here. So he will actually fall from 7th back to 8th position, the position getting taken away by the number 911 Aston Martin. Very well done by Vasily to make that pass there. We now look here, actually a little bit of an attack here from Pablo. Oh, and man, that is close racing there. Let's actually see if we can get a good angle from the Helicam there. You can see absolutely nothing between them, a blanket between them. Oh, a little bit of contact there, a little bit of contact between the number 92, gets door slammed just a touch by Lucas Ziege and the number 22 Porsche. Porsche on Porsche action there, a little bit of contact, not what we want to see, but all is well that ends well. No harm done in that particular scenario. See a little bit of contact there, nothing from the stewards panel as of yet. So these are all good things thus far. They all fall in single file here as we head to the Variante Alta, but certainly nothing between the positions, I'd say, really 8th through 13th. Very, very hard to really distinguish anything between them. We see quite a bit of close action here, side by side, between two Mercedes AMGs, with a third trying to get into the action. That's the 83 car. Ooh, and tight to the inside, a little bit of off track. Oh, and some bumping and banging. The 17 car, kind of the sandwich, the meat in the sandwich there between two of his compatriots in the Mercedes AMG class. They could have a class all their own with the number of Mercedes they have out there right now. But let's look on board here for the front splitter of that car. You can see nothing between them. Maybe even a little bit of contact there heading into turn 1. Goes to the outside here. Not quite able to make that pass happen. Great side-by-side racing. A whole bunch of those monstrous V8s going at it. Oh, and a big block down to the inside going into the Villeneuve chicane. The pass going to be made by the number 41. Oh, and they're off track. Oh, they're wrecking. Huge crash, and the Ferrari's in the wall. 121 in the wall. Absolutely massive incident there. Not what we want to see. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. Let's take a look if we can see what happened there. We're going to be riding on board here with the 121. You can see absolute chaos, and he's just straight into the wall. Nothing he can do there. Nothing to do. Just an innocent bystander there, the 121. And it really started with the two V8s ahead of him. That was the Mercedes AMG and the Aston Martin, and big time damage for the Ferrari. You can see absolutely sideways. He's trying to limp it around the track, but really to no avail. That is going to be an unfortunate end to the day for that Ferrari all the way back to the back of the pack. I believe he's actually scored. Let's take a look. Currently scored 29th. And actually, oh, in contact! Flip Witsack getting involved there. As he tried to make the pass on the damaged car just behind him. Not much he could really do there. Trying to get a replay of that incident. Let's take a look about 30 seconds back in time here. You can see just trying to make the pass. Oh, and the Ferrari just trying to crab his way back to the pit lane. Unfortunate incident there for the number 101. Once again, an innocent bystander, and really not the way they wanted things to go, I'm sure, for that team. Hopefully not too much damage, but certainly some time lost on track there. So not what they wanted to see as we go ahead and take a look back towards the front of the field here. You can see now in quite a battle is the number 101 car, currently under pressure for the 13th position. So, or actually rather that was the 41 car. The 101 is scored much further back down, 33rd position that is for him. We move back up towards the front of the field as we see a big battle for the 3rd position, our last spot on the podium. That is the number 7 Your Way car, who is putting some pressure on the 690 ahead of him. Not quite able to make anything happen. 2 BMWs currently in hot pursuit of the AMG for 2nd position ahead. So a little bit of jostling there for position around the bottom of the podium. We now look a little bit further back. This is number 41 Aston Martin that was originally involved in the other incident. So he has really not gotten any damage out of that incident, despite what happened actually in just this set of corners last lap around. So doing quite well despite that. We welcome Nicholas Domino back to the broadcast booth.
Yeah, welcome. I just saw a lot of cars just going, into space, so it was a bit tricky. But let's see if we can get back up here. I'm currently watching the battle for P3. Are you with me on that one?
Let me just take a look here.
Stuff synced up.
Yes, I'm currently looking at the 97 car.
Alright, let's see. Are we now looking at number 7?
You got it. Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Alright,
Excellent.
we are linked back up again. Yeah, but as you know, we are just looking at here at the moment the fantastic cars Porsche just getting away with it. He's at the moment 3 seconds ahead of the Mercedes. Actually, our pulsator, he didn't get a great start. Lost that immediately. So that's not a great thing for them, but he's just at the moment, having these 2 BMWs behind him. And that BMW is actually, when you look at it, it looks like a small car, but when you then look at it compared to other cars, it's actually quite a big car, and BMW have made big cars in the past.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure if you caught that incident that happened while you were away there, but quite a bit of contact there. We're going to be keeping a close eye on the Race Control channel, and we'll give those watching an update as we go along. Something of note that actually kind of came into mind is It is early in the day in the session right now. The tires are cold, the track is cold. So I personally, and please feel free to give me your feedback on this, I would expect that we will see the Ferraris actually start to come into their own a little bit more later on in the session, because they're so reliant on that aerodynamic grip that really it's going to take until the tires warm up and the track warms up to make up for the lack of mechanical grip in that Ferrari, at least those who are running more aggressive setups. And that could certainly be a reason why we see all of our front engine cars moving rather definitively up towards the front of the field.
It might be, but also the drivers, have been practicing in different, weather conditions, and right now, as we see, the Porsche of Neil trying to get closer and closer to the team balls, Ukrainian Mercedes, that those cars might be a bit easier to actually get tires up and warming, the rear tires getting a bit more grip, because it's already a car that slides a little bit, so it might get a little bit better tire heating. But as soon as we get into midday in a couple of hours, then I think we will start to see different cars get up there, and also different drivers, because some drivers just coping with the heat, with warmer track temperature better than others. As we definitely see Luca getting closer and closer. Is he going for a move here? He's just having a little bit of a look into the Villeneuve chicane. That's not really a place where you overtake.
Well, I think he might be being a little bit more conservative after that contact with the 92. Actually, in this very corner, several laps ago, I think he might be being a little bit more mindful. Gotta remember, maybe a bit of a reminder from his teammates of just remember where we're at. We've got 9 hours left to go in this race. It is not worth getting a penalty now, as we see some side-by-side action between the Mercedes-Benz. Oh, it actually shoves the Porsche off the track there. That is the Mercedes-Benz car number 545, who has just taken a position from the 137 Porsche there. So that is Team Weishite losing a position there to the Crow Racing team. 3 Croatian drivers behind the wheel of the Mercedes-AMG there.
And he's definitely under pressure from the Mercedes behind, who's getting closer and closer. We maybe now start to see these behemoths. Oh, that's close to contact as the Porsche was getting real squarely out of the chicane there.
Well, it should be noted this is the number 83. This is the number 83 Sensible Racing Mercedes, which we noted was a part of the incident earlier on. Ended up in the gravel, in the kitty litter off of the Villeneuve chicane. So he is currently trying to make up positions. Scored as of right now. Where is he scored? He is scored in the 27th position. So he's lost quite a lot of time there. As we see, almost 3 wide into turn 1. The Ferrari currently to the right-hand side. Lamborghini going to take the position, but the Ferrari now under pressure from the 40. A little bit of contact there, and the 40 forced into the gravel. Now he's going to lose another position to the Mercedes-Benz coming from behind on the right-hand side. Going to try to defend it into the Villeneuve chicane. Let's see if he's going to be able to do so. Oh, and yes, he is able to do so, but that puts the Mercedes-Benz behind into trouble, and they are just absolutely rubber banded together. As soon as one moves, it's like there's 3-4 cars ready to take the position as soon as there's even a single slip up. So these drivers absolutely on the edge here, trying to scratch and claw for every single position they can possibly get, and it's definitely the number 83 car in the back of this shot that I would keep a very close eye on. As the 137 Porsche goes wide, they're going to have to be very sensible here going into the Aqua Minerale. Oh, and that's good driving by the 137 Porsche. That was very sensible there from McMark, who is really just let off, and I believe just let the CrowdStrike sponsored number 83 go by us. Now he's actually going to make a move to the outside.
He's getting back at him.
Is that a slowdown for the 83, you think?
No, I think he just got a horrible corner that he lost a lot out of the chicane, and he's just braking a little bit too much. Is he going for a dive? Oh, he's looking for the inside there. That's
he's into the kitty litter!
Oh my goodness, and now he's just, you know, food for the BMW and for the Ferrari behind him. Oh my god, you can lose so many positions so fast right there. So they're just
Absolute
getting
freight
in.
train
It's,
down the boss straight.
oh my goodness. Oh, there's not a lot of flags there. Oh my goodness, these guys are going at it and clean. They're keeping it clean. But just that little touch, you know, trying to get or defend that position into the last two corners just lost him a huge amount of time, and he's now defending instead of attacking. So that's how fast it can go. Within one lap, you are just looking at, you know, getting position after position, and now he's trying to defend from. Oh, my signal. I am missing 2 cars.
We're currently looking here at the number 83. I want to take a look and see, have we gotten anything in the storage chat? No. So nothing in race control thus far. A great note by somebody in the YouTube chat. A lot of argy-bargy for an enduro. These guys know it's a 9-hour race, right? That is an excellent question, and certainly something of note.
Matthias is a lap down. He is, 2 laps down, placed in here. That was why I couldn't really catch him. So him and Richard are actually, you know, in P40 and P41. So they are.
Well, yes. So there was a big incident. The
this
284 and 333 were involved in an incident on lap 1. So I think the 121, 333, and 284 cars are all scored laps down. I believe it's the
But
case.
they're in the middle of this battle, and that can really, you know, that can hurt their battle for getting back up. Oh, as
I'm not sure the drivers around them will be particularly fond of them getting in the middle of everything, especially that 83 car. I'm sure his blood pressure must be pretty high behind the wheel of that car. As we see a battle now for P2, I believe this should be the. Oh, actually, rather P5. So falling back a little bit is our pole sitter. Yeah, he has lost a couple of positions to the Mercedes-Benz and the BMW, as well as the Aston Martin ahead. That is the 690 car, which is, let me double check this here. That is the Beaver Grease Racing car. All Colombian drivers, I believe that is. So they're definitely trying to hold on to as many positions as they can. But not a great start for our pole sitter, especially as it comes to tire wear at the beginning. Vasily Onfrev behind in the number 911, still trying to make a move here, going to be in the slipstream. We'll see if he's going to make a move into the Tomarelli chicane, heading into turn 1, a little bit of blocking, but nothing too harmful. Going around the outside. Oh, and they make contact! They wrecked! Hard into the wall! Hard into the wall for the 911, harder into the wall for the number 690 as he plummets down the field. Massive incident. Absolutely massive.
Wow, that went wrong fast.
And badly wrong. Let's see if I can get a replay on that here. Here we go. You can see going into the chicane and just hard contact. So hard into the wall for the 690. That's got to be the end of the day for that car.
Wow.
Wow.
But the 911 is still going out here.
He's still going at it. Hopefully not too much damage to that car. There's certainly some cosmetic damage visible there. No question about that. I'm trying to see if I can grab where that incident was.
This is turn 1. Down into the first chicane, and it just looked like.
Here we go. Now I can see the replay here. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's try to get a helicopter shot of this one. A little bit of a block to the left from the 690. The 911 goes to the outside, and it looks like the 690 just tried to go back into his line. He defended the inside. The 911 was in my opinion, pretty clearly there. But man, that was a hard hit. Now let's look at that just once more. This time we're going to actually look on board from the driver of the 690. Doesn't look like he turned right by any means. Yeah, it just looks like they both went for the same spot on entry, and certainly did not end well for that car as we go back live now with the 92 Porsche, who, well, I mean, certainly not too much damage to the 911 because he is still really just doing his own thing and has settled back into the 6th position, but not a good way to end the day. That is certainly going to be going looked at by the stewards. There is no way that does not get looked at, but I'm sure if you're the driver of the 911, you're certainly thinking he came into you in the 690. I mean, from his perspective, he certainly didn't even see that he was there, and ended up turned around. Speaking of turned around, the 176 is turned around in Aqua Minerale. He's going to have to be very careful about rejoining here. He's in a very precarious position there on the outside of the corner. He's just waiting for other cars to go by. Backs into the gravel there a little bit and able to get back rolling, and that is some suspicious looking damage on the rear end of that Mercedes-Benz. We're going to have to take a look and see exactly what happened there. Let's take a look. I believe this is coming down the hill here. That's the number 77 we're looking on board with. The 176 car there. Oh, and just way too hard in by the Ferrari. Absolutely punted the Mercedes ahead. I think that one's really quite cut and dry, that particular incident.
Yeah, that's what we talked about, you know, the braking in Aqua Minerale, you know, it's just, it could go wrong so quickly, and I'm interested to see how much damage there really is on that car, because it did look like a huge, you know, contact as we saw with the turn 1, but there's still quite a lot there.
Quite a lot of contacts for 8.5 hours still left remaining in this race. It's hard to realize we've only been 25 minutes into this race.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, driving around. There's a lot of cars and not a lot of space. As we actually see here, the number 15 Team Balls Ukraine is getting caught up by the 911 and the number 92 for that P5. And, it's interesting, you know, that the 911 looks to be still having speed, even though it has been in the war. So
absolutely, I mean, there's certainly quite a lot of speed in that car. I'm not sure we really have doubted that at any point. That is one heck of a fast Aston Martin there, as we see him right on the back bumper of the Mercedes ahead of him. Pablo trying to defend. He defends to the inside. Man, this just looks like deja vu all over again. Heading into turn 1, almost identical situation this time. Pablo stays to the inside, does not have any contact, and is able to save the position. And meanwhile, the 92 going to try to capitalize. The Porsche up to the outside. The red and black dragon-themed car on the outside, and ooh, very sensible to back out of that one, going into the Villeneuve chicane. Now heading into Tosa, turn 7. Nothing really there as they really just stay in line, holding suit about halfway through this first stint of the race.
Yeah, this is a close battle, and they just need to maybe just, you know, chill out a bit, but, you know, getting the tires not worked up too much, but again, you know, they can't really lose time here. So this is, you know, you lose a lot of time as we see the battle into Aqua Minerale with the Toaster Racing getting pushed by the Ferrari, the 977 Glitch Motorsport, with Simon at the moment, and he's under pressure as well. You know, this is the thing, we see 2, 3, 4, 5 cars fighting at each other, and in one corner you're looking to make a pass, and in the next corner somebody's trying to pass you. It's incredibly close, and that is sometimes what we see in this, you know, in the GT3 racing series. cars are closed, the BOP works, and yeah, it's amazing. The temperature is still quite cold. It's still 21 track temperature out there, but the wind have picked up a little bit. Now we 6 kilometers an hour wind speed, and we are almost half an hour into this 9-hour race. And but what we are seeing is that the Porsche of Matthias Licklam Andreasen is just,
Walking
running
away
with
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely walking away. And a fantastic job by him. It's not easy to just walk off in a field like this. These are strong teams and strong drivers that are going at it. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the racing thus far in the first half hour has been incredibly exciting. Maybe a little bit more argy-bargy than we'd like to see, but overall, a great race between these drivers thus far. It's really been quite a good race so far. We're now looking at the number 7 Your Way Racing car. Quite a big fan of that livery, I am. I'm really starting to enjoy that. And the very shiny BMW behind him. A little bit of action here. The 911. Ooh, maybe a touch there coming out of Variante Alta. Maybe a little bit of a push there. We'll see how Vasily reacts to that, or rather, that's Pavlo, who's lost the position. Not quite going to be able to get there to get it back. That 911 is clearly very quick. He just needs to keep all 4 corners of the car attached, and I reckon he's going to be one of the fastest cars we see here all day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Getting out there with a damaged car as well. As we just go back and look at Simon here, that battle we saw before has also turned around, as the Ferrari has just passed Simon, and he's at the moment also trying to get passed by the Porsche, who just managed to get out of that and say, all right, I will try and take you in another position. But yeah, close racing all over the place, and hopefully they keep it clean. Still a lot of racing to be had here in the last couple of hours.
Absolutely, and we see the 22 car putting some pressure on the 17. He's going to back out of it in turn 7. Nothing really there. We see scored in the 42nd position. You can see in the left-hand side of your screen, just there for a moment, was the 690. He was involved in that massive crash. Good to see that they're back on track. I am actually quite surprised to see them back on track after how significant that damage was. But kudos to them for continuing on. It looks like they've actually got the majority of that damage fixed. Probably had to replace basically the entire front clip of that car as he's under pressure from the 977. He's going to very cordially get out of the way, having been lapped down, and the Ferrari gets through, no problems, no questions asked.
Yeah, and that's the way he needs to drive this, and that's actually why it's gonna be a bit difficult for him to get back up there. So we just see Luca getting a better exit out of the chicane, and he just takes that nice and easy. Say thank you. I will now try and see if I can catch the Ferrari up there, but he has lost quite a lot of time. And actually, a car that we haven't really talked much about, that is also in this race, is this number 5 car, is the McLaren, which is, I think, the only McLaren we have in the field.
Yeah, currently going to be driven by Hans-Peter and Manuel Rudder, 2 German drivers. I am not even going to even try to pronounce the name of that team because I am not German, nor can I speak German. Currently under pressure is that McLaren, very brightly colored is that car. Under pressure from the Ferrari behind, that's the 777 car, putting him under pressure just a little bit there. Oh, and some contact! He goes around. That was one heck of a hit. Let's see if I can see that again. He is still stopped to the inside. We're going to watch the replay here. Clean going through the Villeneuve chicane. He's going to have to try to be sensible, rejoining the track, but we'll see the incident here. And just rolled so much more corner speed, did the 777. Thankfully, the 2 Aston Martins had little trouble getting around that incident. No other contact, no innocent bystanders involved, but that was certainly a dump and run by the 777 Ferrari on the 5. and the commentator's curse strikes once again.
Oh yeah, and that's a thing that the drivers will see here is that we are definitely gonna commentate the curse a lot of drivers. That is just a thing that we do, and we like doing it. As we see, ooh, the Porsche of number 92 trying to get past Pablo in the Team Balls Ukrainian. This battle is still going on here, and the 911 Aston Martin has just left him in the dirt. So definitely having a lot more speed in that Aston out there. So yeah, interesting. Nice to see a couple of battles up and down the field.
Absolutely, and the 911 showing his strength by just walking off from the Mercedes and Porsche behind. That is a strong car. That is a little bit of a gap here to the next car ahead. I'm actually trying to take a look and see how far that gap is between the two drivers. Let's see if I can actually see that here. So that's another 5 or so seconds to the next car ahead, the number 7 car. So he is going to be... Oh, actually, let's look at the wrong car there. 8 seconds, rather, the distance between this number 62 of Antonio Charo and Vasily in the 911 just behind, about 8 seconds the gap there. So that would be the next target on the Aston Martin's list. So he'll be trying to see that Italian flag on the rear wing out the windshield, hopefully rather soon. We look back now at the number 92, still putting pressure on the 15 car, trying to get around him unsuccessfully so far. The Ukrainians, in their typical Ukrainian spirit, absolutely unbreakable as they continue to defend that position. We look back now to the 83 car. Oh, and there's contact! Oh my gosh, hard into the wall. The number 545. Big time contact between him and the number 83. Gets moving rather quickly, but that has got to be damage on the front end of that car.
Wow,
absolutely no doubt about that. Let's see if we can get a replay of that here. Is this the correct incident? No, this is just ahead of it here. And just hard into the wall off the bumper of the number 83 there. Oh, and just behind, we kind of missed this at the same time as the 176 got spun from behind once again. He had been a victim at the Aquamena rally chicane of one of the Ferraris earlier on, so the rear bumper of that number 176 Mercedes absolutely used up at this point. The 545 limping around. Certainly some visible damage on that car, but still limping ahead. They, I would expect, will wait until the next chance they get to pit at the end of this stint, rather than pitting out of sequence with the other drivers. The number 83, maybe a couple of scratches on the front end of that car, but nothing too crazy. Quite some excitement that car has been involved in thus far in this race, as he's now under pressure from the number 101 car, who I believe was a victim of one of the other accidents a little bit early on. So absolutely wild start to the race within our first hour. So hopefully they'll calm it down a little bit. Certainly understand how hard they're racing for position, but maybe hoping that they go ahead and clean that up. They were very sensible at the start of the race. Hopefully they continue that trend.
Yeah, well, they have just thrown it all the way out of the window. That, but what we see with the 83 is that he's faster than some of the guys around here, and I think he brakes later than the cars around him maybe do normally, and that is what we see here. You know, he's a bit taken off by the braking so early, and that's what causes some of these incidents at the moment. But he's right back at it, trying to see if he can get some of the positions back up there. Oh, as he's indicated a little bit there, and the BMW is trying now to go to the inside into the Villeneuve chicane, and that's another position lost for the 83.
Yet another one lost there. The 101 making actually really a good pass. That was clean. Maybe a little bit in the kitty litter, but nothing too wild. So well done by those two drivers to get through cleanly. So kudos to them on that one. As we now take a look a little bit further up the field, there was a pass for position between the number 97 and the 7 car. Apologies for missing that one, but that puts Andreas Borchers up into the 2nd position. BMW on BMW action for the final 2 of the podium spots, and just absolutely off in the distance is the Fanta Porsche. A spectacular job being done by Mats Anderson at the front of the field, and we should expect to see something mentioned in the chat of the stream. We should expect to see our first pit stops, our stint timers, running out at just about 65 minutes. So we're just about 2/3 of the way through that amount of time. The Porsche up in the front, just absolutely untouchable at the moment. The speed on that car really, really quite good, as we see some side-by-side action. The 111 currently defending position from the Ferrari. He's able to keep that position for right now. They swap around. The preferred line going to go to the 111, but the Ferrari going to try to carry the momentum around the outside. They're side-by-side, maybe a little bit of a rush between the two of them, but nothing too egregious as they head up into turn 9 Pertella. Let's see if one of them is going to have to give up the position here. Be sensible, lads. Well done there by the 111, giving up that position. He knew a little bit better not to fight it, not worth getting into an accident with the Glitch Motorsport Ferrari. We now look here at a battle for, what is this, 22nd position, I believe, that we're looking at right here. 24th,
that's
rather.
back markers. Yeah, those are the back markers that he's having right behind him at the moment. That was what I was getting a bit off put by there, so I thought that was a battle. But right now he's actually keeping those two, up. They might be faster at the moment, but they are allowed to unlap themselves. But it's just so difficult when you're laps down and trying to get back up the field if somebody's almost as fast as you, but not too much faster, and then if you can't really get away from them, then you actually kind of have to let them by again, so that can be a real issue when they trying to get back up the field.
Absolutely, and we're looking now at the 121 Ferrari. He was involved in an incident a little bit earlier in the Villeneuve chicane, kind of a victim of circumstance there, trying to make up positions. Now mired all the way back, let's see here, he is mired all the way back in 39th. So he is one of the, let's see, 4 cars rather, that have pitted already. And we have one car currently in the pit lane. That is the number 296, who has lost 2 laps to the leaders. In fact, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars that are at least a lap down. Not what we want to see this early in the race, but still a solid 42-car field and a remaining 35 on the lead lap. Looking now at the number 92 Porsche, headed into Rivazza at the bottom of the hill. He has managed to finally get around the number 15. That was a long fought battle between himself and the 15 Mercedes, who now also comes under pressure from the car behind. That is another Mercedes, the number 771, Sergei Demidov in that vehicle. Currently putting pressure. That is the Dive Bomb Motorsport car that he is currently piloting, the white front end. Very clean looking livery. That I actually quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, I get going from the white to a little bit of the brown and then getting to the black. It's a nice fade on that car. But let's see, he's gonna actually try and dive bomb here with the yellow accent in the headlights as well. He's really pushing there. But even though we saw Niall actually trying to overtake there, or actually getting by, he's not really been able to get away. But another thing that we haven't really talked about is a little bit of the tire set. That these guys do have a limit on the amount of tires, so we will see them double stinting some of these tires, and it's gonna be interesting to see which cars are actually gonna suffer the most out of that. And this is really where I feel a car like the Porsche might suffer, just because it's so. It drives fast, but it's a bit unstable when you're driving it, so you're sliding a lot, and that. If there's something that Robert is not a fan of, it's sliding tires on asphalt. It's killing it.
Absolutely, and we remind those watching that we do actually have, I believe, a pit wall server up. If you'd like to track live timing and keep along with the action, I'm actually trying to find it myself here to use that to give a little bit of additional insight. If some of the moderators or organizers want to put that into the chat, that'd be greatly appreciated. I'm sure everybody wanted to follow along here. We're looking at the number 41 Aston Martin with the Heart of Racing livery, currently trying to put a little bit of pressure on the Ferrari just up ahead. We've actually kind of seen quite a lot from the number 977 Ferrari, but very clean racing, that Glitch Motorsport car. So they've been doing a really good job of just staying out of trouble, not, blisteringly fast, but they've had a clean race and a clean start, well inside the top 10 in 9th position.
Yeah, and that's what you need to be looking at. You need to be there not in the first hour, but in the last hour. Right now, these guys are just driving around, tearing down the fuel, down the tires, getting the time and laps completed, so that they're ready for the last sprint and the last hour. That's really what you're trying to juggle into, getting the best position at that given time. So that's really what they are out there to try and do. And we have seen a lot of what can best be described as argy-bargy, just people rubbing a little bit when they're driving, but there's so many cars, and this is such a small track compared to how many cars we have in here, and they are so close in the BOP. We have 34 cars. We have 15 more cars around here than when the Formula 1 cars are going at it. So that's definitely something that we need to keep in mind for this particular thing. And I'm just gonna look here, at our leader. He's actually now getting up and trying to pass a little bit of some of the back markers, but Andreas behind is actually putting in some decent lap times here. He's been catching a little bit, and the gap hasn't really increased from Matthias.
And the top 5 in general have just started to close up together. I mean, last time we updated it, the 911 car was about 8 seconds behind. He's grabbed 3 seconds on the 62 ahead, who's lost about a second to the 7 car, who's lost about 2.5 seconds to the 97, who's holding station relatively well against the 117 rather. Mats Anderson absolutely dominating thus far up the front of the field, so kudos to him for a really clean lap thus far. But actually, the fastest lap currently held by our second place runner in the number 97 car. Andreas Borchers holding our fastest lap at a 141.240. So he has done great work there. We look now at Antonio Shiro in the number 62 Mercedes, really on an island all of his own up at the front of the field. But you can see just coming into the back of the shot there at the very last second, the 911 car, he is going to be absolutely itching to get positions back after that incident, fighting for P2, because I reckon he would absolutely be making up ground on the 117 if he was up there right now, if not for that incident. So very well done between those two, and we invite those of you who are in the YouTube chat to let us know who you'd like to see. We definitely are doing our best to make sure we catch all the action, all the incidents, anything that is happening. So please do let us know who's your favorite team, who are we rooting for, who are you pulling for, and why. That gives us quite a bit to talk about. We appreciate you all being with us. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank all of the AOR coordinators the Apex Online Racing staff, volunteers who spend a lot of time putting these events together for us. Who've brought Nick and I into the broadcast booth to bring all the action to you, and we appreciate them and their continued support and bringing us a 4th season of this Endurance Championship here at Imola. We look on board here now with the a little bit of slide there for the 772. That is one of the only Lamborghinis in the session. Is the 772. That is the Indian Racing Community car. So 4 Indian drivers on board of that Lamborghini Huracan Evo 2. Very good looking race car that is. And kudos to them, doing pretty well in the 17th position. Davlish Singh in the car at the moment. Currently has his eyes on the 115 just ahead. That is the Aston Martin just ahead that he's trying to put some pressure on. So well done by those gentlemen representing their country proudly.
Oh yeah, definitely. And but I think this Lamborghini is just evil looking as she's getting a great exit out of the. Oh, that's a block and a half, and just getting right back in front of that. Wow, that's a little bit too much defending maybe from.
Oh, the contact!
Contact, and that was bound to happen. With that amount of.
With that amount of blocking, that was going to happen.
Yeah. You're of course allowed to defend your position and move one time, but that was multiple moves right there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if we can get a replay of that there. Looking from the helicam here. Let's see, coming out of the first chicane, 1, 2, almost 3 blocks there. Holds to the outside, then comes back across, and there's the contact that sends the 115 around. No harm done really there, just a quick spin, and continues on going. But I would certainly have a hard time putting the blame for that on the Lamborghini there. Really just trying to do his best to get around cleanly, and quite a lot of blocking there from the Aston Martin.
Yeah, definitely. That's not what we want to see. We want to see nice, clean racing, but not with any contact. As the guys they've maybe slowed down a little bit. Philip getting closer here. We really have to go back to P20 to really find a close battle now, and that I think is what we're gonna see now with only 9 minutes left of the hour, and he is getting past this Porsche, who's just letting him by the SR Esport and 920, just letting him pass and racing their own place. Oh, as he's trying to get back here, see into the middle. No, he's just backing out into the middle. Just not really worth it for him. They might be looking at the long game and not really battling a position that they think, well, he's maybe too fast for us anyway. So let's get him on strategy instead of pure pace.
Absolutely. We rapidly approach the close of our first hour of racing. With that, we see the field starting to spread out here on the Italian circuit. Very aptly themed with the red, white, and green curbs all around the circuit, and a relatively new addition in the last year or so to the Assetto Corsa Competizione roster of tracks. Interesting of note is a recent update to Assetto Corsa Competizione that included 3 new vehicles. We look at one of them now, putting pressure on the AMG. This is the battle for 8th and 9th position. A great move to the inside here by the Glitch Racing Ferrari. He's going to get to the inside. A little bit of defending from the 7071, but that's a clean pass right there. Very well done by the pilot of the 977. Maybe a little bit of a comeback from the AMG, but I'm not sure he's really going to get there or get any further close. Any sort of action there in the Villeneuve chicane. Certainly wouldn't want to see that. And that's going to be done and dusted. That change for position between 8th and 9th position. But to go back to the point I was making before with that update, worth noting for those watching that the Ferrari has something of of quite a fuel advantage. I believe was something that was discussed in the chat. There are limited tire sets in this race. The teams and drivers are going to have to be very mindful of their tire usage. That also included practice earlier on. So some drivers starting the race on scuffed tires or running low on sets of tires even. So something that's going to come into play later on in the race. Something we're going to have to keep account of, and I'm sure the balance of performance is going to change quite a bit throughout the season. The AOR coordinators do a great job of trying to keep the field fair and trying to appropriately nerf and buff the cars as they see fit to keep the competition close, especially given that these teams are locked into their car selection for the season. They are allowed, I believe, one change, but they do reset their points. So certainly anyone interested in winning this championship will be pretty much locked into their car selection. I'm sure those who have selected the Mercedes AMG are quite happy with that decision right at this moment. We see good amount of momentum from the number 41 Heart of Racing Aston Martin now to the inside of the AMG. Will he make it happen in the middle of chicane? Very sensible there by the 771 to back out of it. Just let it happen. Not worth getting into an incident there, as that
he's
is a change of position.
A lot of time now. He's just lost 2 positions, and Lorenzo is looking to get up there again. This looks like the the big humongous Mercedes Sergey might have used a little bit too much of his tires. Oh, as we saw the Lorenzo just pushing a little bit too much and went off track there. But yeah, Sergey might have a little bit of an issue now with his tires, and these guys have 7 set of tires for this entire race and qualifying. So this is gonna be close. They're definitely gonna double stint a set of 2. So if and this is where sometimes people talk about when will you take these tires. Double stinting can be both a good and a bad thing to do at the beginning, because at the beginning you're fighting for a lot of positions, so maybe you will lose too much time and don't have the gap. But then you also need to look at, alright, well, how is the temperature out there? It's now crawled up to 22 degrees track temperature, but it's still quite cold, and we started in 21. But we are getting into that time of day where the track will heat up and these tires will suffer and scream, and we will see the murder of tires at the end of this race.
Absolutely, and we're going to start to see the cars that are really going to be a threat to win the race at the end start to come into their own as the tires warm up and the track heats up. Just starting to see the sun just cracking over the horizon, as the driver is going to certainly have some visibility issues, I imagine, heading into turn 9 Pirtella. Turns 9 and 10 about to be quite interesting for the drivers as the sun rises from the east, and that end of the circuit about to get quite warm. Going to be a beautiful sunrise this morning in the Italian countryside. We look now at the number 92 Porsche going through Ravazza at the end of the lap here. He's pulled a little bit of a gap now on the number 15, riding on board now with the Porsche. And let's just listen to that flat 6 scream down the Bossa straightaway. You can just start to see the sun coming up in the mirror there in the center of the car. The colors of orange, pale orange and beige just making their way up into the sunlight here. We'll now look at the 40 car, the 83 in fact. Maybe having a little bit of technical difficulty here. Hopefully that'll sort itself out. There we go. Now looking at the number 41 Aston Martin. Moving back down to the battle for the 22nd position, number 83 CrowdStrike sponsored car in the middle of a battle here. Ooh, a little bit sideways there, is it? I think I might be having some connection issues.
I just, yeah, I had a little bit as well.
Okay, so maybe that was a server issue, yeah.
Yeah, we do apologize. You know, sometimes you know, we get a little bit of issues with all this. We are looking at some let's say just you know, a little bit of ingenuity of how we are doing this broadcasting and how we're trying to have, you know, our setup just look the same as we are actually having for number 56, Andrea in the Aston Martin. He's got a drive-through, our first drive-through, and that he's gotten for going off track, and that's so. And he will just come in here, and he will be the first, not to pit, but to get a drive-through. So that means that he will go straight through here, or is he
actually looks like he's actually going to try and pit? What has he done there?
No, I think I've lost connection again to the server.
I too had the same issue, so I think there might be a little bit of server issues happening right now. His people are spinning all over the place. Might be a little bit of a server issue. We apologize for those technical difficulties as the sun just starts to rise. We're going to continue to try to fix those issues and see if it's us or if it's the server that's dying. In the meantime, the number 117 Fanta car, our leader, is just getting into lapped traffic, doing a good job of managing his time, but that means he's going to be a little bit more likely to lose time to the cars behind. Let's see if we can find exactly what the gap is between there. 10 seconds. Rather, 8 seconds, roughly, the gap between himself and Andreas and the 97 behind. The gap now between the 911 and the 62 continuing to fall. That's gone from about 8 seconds to 6 seconds now to 4 seconds. So that is shaping up to be quite a good battle as the sun starts to rise here. Here comes the number 911 in the 5th position, I believe, coming in for his first pit stop of the day. And as we just approach the end of our first hour of racing, we're going to go ahead and take an Apex Online Racing hourly update. We go to the front of the field, and we will walk you through the race thus far. At the front of the field, number 117 Fanta-sponsored Porsche. Currently, our leader, Mats Anderson, behind the wheel of that car. We move back to the number 97, our second place car. That's the BMW that recently overtook position for second position. Then in third, we have the number 7. That is the Your Way Racing car, the all Polish lineup in that car. Fourth position currently held by the Mercedes AMG number 62 of Antonio Charo. That is the Italian job. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Theming on that, very, very appropriate.
Yeah,
that
and
team.
with the mustache on the car as well. It's amazing.
Very appropriate indeed. We move back to 5th position. That is Nigel Tarrant in the number 92 Dragon-sponsored, or Dragon-themed, I should say, Porsche 992 GT3R. We move back then to Pavlo Polachuk in the number 15 Mercedes, that all-black car. Just behind, the Glitch Racing number 977 Ferrari, who's been slowly making his way up the field, doing a great job in the first opening stint here. Then number 41, Christoph Verstreppen, in the number 41 car. That's the Heart of Racing livery on the McLeod Racing V2 car. Then we move back to Sergei Demidov, number 771 Mercedes AMG, the white, brown, and black car for Dive Bomb Motorsports. We move back then another position to our 10th place runner. That's Lorenzo Tortella in the 111 Aston Martin. Another example of a driver slowly making their way up the field as we see the sun rising on the Italian countryside. We now look at the number 22 Porsche. That car has had quite a time of it. You can see all the marbles on the front of that white Porsche. That is currently piloted by Luca Ziege. We move back to the number 17 car. That is the Creme de la Course Raspberry Ripple Mercedes AMG red colored car. We move back then to our 13th position. That's the 777 Daniel Sarigan. All the way back at the Crazy Fly Racing car. We then go to the all Indian lineup, number 772 Lamborghini. That's our 14th place runner by Dinesh Singh. Then finally our 15th place runner, that's Michelle Rizzo in the 115 Aston Martin. You see the beautiful sunrise just coming up over the top of the hill at turn 9 Paratella. That's going to be quite difficult for the drivers to see through. We now go all the way back further in the field. A couple other drivers of note. The number 83 of that is the Mercedes. Which team is that? I gotta look at my list here. I'm using paper the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. You're doing it, old-fashioned. I'm just looking at as we have
A little bit off track there.
121. Yeah, just going way off. But yeah, this car has been quite into the wars, and he's slowly trying to catch up through the field. Number 83 here. You've had 2-3 contacts, clashes with other cars, so not having the greatest of race, but see if they can claw back something interesting at the end of the race. But we have had a couple of pit stops at the rear end of
well, the 911 is certainly one to note on that. Currently trying to overtake the 696 Ferrari. It looks like he'll get that done heading into Rivazza, hopefully without any contact. That's one car to absolutely keep your eyes on as the race develops here. They've definitely got some speed. They took a little bit of an earlier pit stop, makes sense, given the incidents that they've been involved in, as they finally make that pass on the 296 Ferrari. So that one is going to be done and dusted. We still await our leaders to come into the pit lane. In the meantime, quite a fast lap by a few different cars. Simone De Nicola in the 977 running some really quite fast laps the last several laps, doing a great job in that Ferrari, trying to put some pressure on the 15 Pavlo Polachuk up front. So they're going to go down the Bossa straightaway. I don't think they'll be close enough to really make any sort of move, but that battle continuing to develop as we approach the first pit stop at the end of the stint timer at 65 minutes, rapidly approaching.
Oh yeah, definitely. But one of the guys who's been really, we have had a couple of cars, losing positions and some gaining. That's normal. But Philip in P16 here, the BMW, he's gained 14 positions so far. So really one of the outstand throughout the race, and maybe also somebody has been maybe qualifying further down than he should be. But then again, Simon here, he's overtaking 7 different cars, so starting P14, so getting up there, and he's just been pushing on and pushing on and pushing on. That Ferrari looks good in his hands, and yeah, interested to see if he can get by Paolo.
Very well done indeed by that car. As they head to the Variante Alta at the top of the hill, the gorgeous Italian sunrise, absolutely breathtaking to see here. I'm sure that if I was driving, I'd be much too distracted by the shiny thing in the sky, as I tend to be. As they head down into Rivazza, we'll see whether or not that Ferrari is going to be close enough to try to make a move on the Mercedes ahead. But we should expect to see our leaders starting to come into the pit lane rather soon. We have, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars that have pitted thus far. So those mostly people in the back of the field who've maybe had damage. Actually, to take a step back to one of the cars you were mentioning, Philip Witzak, all the way back in 16th. He's in 16th, having made up so many positions despite being involved in a couple of incidents. So I'm very excited to see how his race continues to develop throughout the day and throughout the next 8 hours, because clearly that's a good car, just needs to continue making their way up the field and maybe fix a little bit of that damage and that shaky hood up at the front of the car.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting to see if how much is this damage actually gonna impact the cars. We see now on lap times, not as much, but it might be impacting other things than lap times. It might be impacting tire wears. It might be impacting fuel consumption. We just don't know at the moment. And in the in this simulator racing game, as we have had a transfer position. Oh, that's quite further out. Um, but in this simulator, people are we don't really know what they're using and how much this damage really is, as we see the two BMWs in the pits at the moment.
Yep, those are our second and third place cars. I believe fourth, fifth, and sixth have all come in, so one lap longer is the Porsche going to go. That's going to be interesting to see how that develops with the fuel consumption of the Porsches, and another Porsche going even further. That's the 92, able to go yet an additional lap, so that's going to be quite good as the race develops for the Porsches. Yet another point in the box, another check for the Porsche 992 that was recently released. Looks like some of the Aston Martins able to go a little bit further as well. So you see that is the number 7 car currently in the pit lane. You can see dropping to the bottom of the field, but that will cycle through rather soon. We're going to see exactly where they come out. Just about exactly in the positions that they were. So that's going to be second and third position, holding station where exactly they were, as we see the 96 behind now drop off the jacks and get moving. This battle continues to rage on between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. This is a great battle between these two cars. Very well done, very clean. So very well done by these two gentlemen currently behind the wheel. I expect that we will see these two cars coming into the pit lane in the next probably lap or two. As we approach now 7 hours and 50 minutes remaining. Here's the move to the inside of the Variante Alta. Is he able to make it happen?
Oh,
No!
that's never gonna do. That's never gonna work. Overtaking through there, that's never a good place.
Very sensibly done, though. He did back out of it. So Simone De Nicola, very, very sensible to just back out of that. Wasn't too crazy, wasn't too wild. So kudos to him for really just taking it easy there.
And that is said from the man that just saw somebody trying to dive on the inside into.
He didn't try. He backed out of it. He was just scaring him a little bit.
Just
speaking. So on that topic, now it is Porsche, Ferrari at the front of the field who have not pitted. So it looks like the Ferrari and the Porsche a clear advantage for those cars on the fuel consumption end of things.
Yeah, this is really a thing that is, going to be interesting to see how this develops at the end. He's able to put out such a pace, but in the end, he's still also able to just, go all out. And tires, we don't know the state of them, but fuel, going further and further than the others, but still being out in the front without slipstream anything, just putting this extreme pressure down. Everybody else should be thinking this could be really wrong. He's pitting now, but that's 2 laps after some of the other cars we've seen.
And that would mean 2 laps less fuel he would have to take potentially at the end of the race. But I'm sure that will continue to stack up over time. So that's definitely going to be something to take a look at as the strategy continues to play out. And we're going to be interested to see exactly where they sort back out. 10 seconds was the gap between our leader and the first of the BMWs when they did go ahead and pit. So I will be fascinated to see where they line up. And another lap from the Ferrari number 977. Excellently done by Simone. And Nigel Terran also still out there on track. So very impressive by those two drivers. Great fuel numbers there. Very impressive. As our leader now scored in the 4th position, continues to get fuel and tires on board that car. We look back now at P13, the number 83 car, currently scored in that position. I'm not sure he's yet pitted if he's all the way that far up. Certainly a fast car, no doubt about that. However, certainly question that track position, so we'll have to see how things cycle out at the end of the full pit cycle.
Yeah,
Running a group of three here with himself and a Ferrari behind, sandwiched by a BMW up ahead.
As we have Matt coming out again here, he has been in the pit stop. That was quite a long pit stop actually for him. A 1 minute 12-second pit stop.
Well, it makes me wonder, perhaps did some of the other drivers maybe try to undercut him, maybe pit a couple laps early, take less fuel, get fresh tires, 4 fresh tires on their cars, and then try to leapfrog him. We'll have to see whether or not that was successful as the pit stops fully flesh out here. And funny enough, the windshield wipers on the car behind. Let's see here. No, they were definitely not able to make up that gap.
No.
That is still a massive gap between themselves and the leader.
Yeah, but they have definitely, you know, they gained 3 seconds. So if that's just down to breaking into the pit lane or fuel flow, or we don't know. But you know, he doesn't need to take chances with going, because that is a stupid penalty to get. You know, getting those drive-throughs or stop and go for going just a little bit too fast into the pits compared to just the gap and the dominance that we had out there. But we see at the moment that Matthias in number 7 is really piling on the pressure here, going for a little bit of a dive in there. Oh, he's getting that position. Nicely done by both the drivers. And getting out of the corner here, he needs to be able to keep that position, so he will be able to get into his own rhythm and try and rhythm that Porsche in with you know, a couple of hours left to go. So let's see if that's gonna get there for him.
Absolutely, and that's going to be a change for position. Another thing of note, as we talk about fuel consumption, being behind another driver, maybe using a little bit less fuel on the straightaways, as you see a big dive there from the 92, absolutely takes that position. That wasn't even a pass. That was a grab for position between the 92 and the 111. Very definitive pass there, but being behind a car may have a little bit of an advantage, at least on the Boston Straight. Maybe less so now that the cars are spread out, but that's certainly something to keep in mind.
Yeah, that was just, you know, trying to get by back markers. He's actually still out there.
Yeah, this is incredibly impressive that he is still out there on those tires, especially considering, I mean, the man's got fuzzy pink slippers. So it seems like with the way that he's been able to save fuel, we'll have to see exactly where he ends up cycling back out. I'm sure that's going to be something of an advantage for him.
Oh yeah, definitely. Ooh, as we saw,
off-track moment there for the 760.
Yeah. But we're right now on looking at the number 90. We have gotten a 10-second penalty. So if that is for a steward inquiry, or I don't know, maybe you can look that up. But he's gotten a 10-second penalty right now.
Yes. So, according to the stewards panel, car 90 is responsible for causing an incident with car 696, having forced themselves back on track when there was no space. That was all the way back on lap 2. So that is going to be a 10-second time penalty for car number 90 and results in 1 license point penalty. No further action for car 696 being the victim of that. Another one worth of note is that a incident between car 1 and 74 on lap 4 has occurred. No further action for car number 1, however, a 5-second time penalty for the number 74 car. No license points awarded on that. But car 74 there, decided by the stewards, being responsible for causing a, quote, minor avoidable accident. And actually, just as I say that, there is yet another There is yet another penalty here. A 10-second time penalty for the car number 99, if we could go ahead and look at that. 7 total license points. 5 license points plus additional for a big wreck on lap 1. Car 99 responsible for avoidable contact. So that is going to be one heck of a penalty, not just in the time penalty, but in the license points for that car. That's pretty significant for a car we haven't even really had a chance to talk about much. So let's actually go ahead and do so. Car number 99 currently is piloted by, let's take a look here. Currently behind the wheel is Niels Krul. Certainly looking cool in that livery. And so that is the correct Racing Electric Boogaloo car for our 296 JT3. The roster there, Ben McConnell and Joshua Charrington, both Brits from the UK. Then we have one of your Danish compatriots, Martin Blankensteiner and Niels Poole, the Dutch gentleman currently behind the wheel of that vehicle that has since gotten a penalty. I'm sure they will be serving that on their next time into the pit lane.
Did you say that Martin was Dane?
From what I printed out here, yes. No.
Well, I'm just with that last name. But everybody can have different things. Like,
I think that's a Danish flag, maybe. That might be crazy.
You are.
I mean, yes, we know this, but
yeah, we know this, but
yep, it's Danish. I figured it out. The internet helped me.
Yeah, and the Dane didn't know that. That's a great.
Imagine that.
The Ferrari and the the Ferrari's still in, but Nigel's still out there doing laps. That's quite a lot of laps now. He has been able to actually just go over, which is gonna be incredible. Now done with 6 laps more than the leaders before, so it's that's not a small change.
Absolutely. And interesting of note, we've had a few different driver changes, but Mats Anderson has now cycled back into the second position. The 92 Nigel Terran absolutely destroying everyone on fuel consumption. I don't know how that car is still going, but seems like he just doesn't even have to stop.
Yeah, what we might see there is him being just purely better on fuel, maybe driving in a different fuel map, so that he has maybe saved the fuel for this entire race, and being behind other people.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
That can definitely do it.
And this is the car we actually haven't had a chance to talk about, is this number 14 Ferrari up in the 3rd position. I presume he has not yet come into the pit lane. That is Team Shoeskins. This is actually the second of the Team Shoeskins car, the other being our number 92 leader, that being the Porsche. But this particular car, under the control of Jay Fang and Ader Wilspin at the helm. Jay Fang currently behind the wheel. The Chinese driver currently there. He comes into the pit lane, and there is our leader. Yeah. So both coming in together. Incredibly impressive job by the SMS team. They have done a truly spectacular job. Major kudos to the strategists on the pit box for those two teams. Now I'm going to be interested to see where the 92 cycles back out after having stayed out for so long on nice, warm, gummy tires. So let's go ahead and see. Heavy back onto the throttle. The 92 is going to cycle back out, and it looks like 6th position is where he will come back out. Now, I want to also see where the 911 is going to come back out here. Currently scored in 9th position, coming down the straightaway, but it looks like he's actually lost position to the number 15, which has been handed over to Dominique behind the wheel of that Mercedes, who I believe actually qualified the car, but I could be wrong. So that's been actually a change of position there So looks like the 911 maybe a little bit of a slower pit stop, but in favor of the 977. So Simone De Nicola having a great in-lap and out-lap and was able to make up quite a few positions up to the 7th position, and going to be putting pressure, I'm sure, rather soon on the number 92 ahead.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see with these stint times that we're seeing at the moment, because right now our number 7 is Matthias here. His stint time right now is an hour and 15 minutes. That's quite a long time. Ooh, that's
a big slide there.
Slide and a half. Yeah. So there have been driver changes and some of the others, but he's definitely on. I think he might be double stinting. I think that might be what we're seeing here.
I mean, seeing how much he slid those tires coming out of the corner, I would not be surprised. That's going to be interesting strategy-wise, whether you... Oh, yeah, that is slidey. There's no way those are new tires. Absolutely on the number 7 car. I do know that our leader is not double stinting, just because I did see, or, I mean, I could be wrong just based on the animation, but it did look like he came off of the jacks there, so definitely didn't do a splash and dash. I think that was just tires only, but someone in chat, please feel free to correct me if that is not the case. In any
I
case,
don't think it's gonna be tires only, mate. He will need to have a bit of fuel in that one as well.
well, I'm saying no tires. I think he might have gone no tires there, as we see him lapping our pole sitter, who has unfortunately been in a massive incident in turn 1 and has now been mired all the way back in the back. Very unfortunate for the 690 team back there, but our leader continues to dominate into the rising Italian sun, and really has quite a handy lead here. Let's actually take a look at exactly how much it is. It's gone from 10 seconds to 14 seconds, the gap between those two. The number 83 car is up into the 2nd position, but I do not believe they have pit. I think they may have actually pit early, so they may actually be off sequence in that number 83 car. As I say that, dives into the pit lane, so that is going to be 2nd position given back to the number 7. Mateus is going to retake that position. 17 seconds the gap between them, so almost doubled his distance has Mats Anderson in the last several laps, but pretty close between those two. We also look at a little bit of a close battle here. The 911 continuing to put pressure on the 15. The question is going to be, can he make the clean pass between the two of them? I also believe that's been a driver change for that car, so
yeah,
going to be interesting to see how that affects their movement forward. Clearly had some really good speed in that car, so hopefully they're going to be able to continue to keep that up. We look a little bit further back, the number 101 car that we talked about a little bit earlier, putting some pressure on the 920 Porsche. Very well done there in continuing to work his way up the field. Currently scored in the 19th position. Certainly not, I'm sure, where they would like to be, but they are making slow and steady progress towards the front of the field.
Yeah, and that's, it's a long race, and they will be having a long, dragged out fight to try and see if they can get a couple of positions out of all of this. And now's really when you can get those positions. As he's just really there, he goes onto the inside of the Porsche, and the Porsche just like, yeah, well, that's the position. Trying to stay behind and maybe get a bit of the draft instead of losing too much time there. But yeah, it's interesting to see with some of these pit stop times at the moment, at least from our data, and I think that might be wrong, but P2 actually haven't pitted yet, which would be...
No, the 7 car has pitted. That must be erroneous. Yeah. There's no way on that one. Let's actually take a look at our changes for position. Some of our biggest winners here. Again, the 101 car up 25 positions from where they started. A very, very job well done there. Of course, our pole sitter, the 690, down 40 positions. Not what they wanted to see at all. They've done a great job in qualifying. They had a great first stint up until that incident. Nothing from the stewards commenting on that. But a couple of other penalties that have come from the stewards thus far. An incident between car 9 and 56 on lap 1, that's going to be 5 license points for car number 56 for causing an avoidable accident. Additionally, on lap 1 between car 284 and 333, 8 license points for car number 284, so that is a lot of license points for the first round of this championship.
And they got a 45-second stop and hold as well. So
that is a lot of time to lose there.
And they are already now 3 laps down, so that's... Yeah, they're definitely going to be all the way out of this one.
Yeah, I certainly don't expect to see a whole lot more of them later on in the race, but we now ride on board here in the Lamborghini. This is, let's see, which car is this? This is car number 716. Pavel currently behind the wheel of this car. That is 716. Let's actually take a look and talk about this team here. 716, that is the Mack Racing team. 3 Russian drivers joined by a guest German in the Lamborghini Huracan Evo 2. Currently piloted by one of the 3 Russians. Here's an interesting one, is if we look a little bit further back, another one of our big gainers is the car that's about to overtake that car.
But Matthias is in the pits again. I believe what I saw. Matthias is now out of the pits. So I think
we watched him coming in pits, so something was wrong.
Yeah, but maybe what we might not have seen is if he actually got into the pits too fast and maybe have gotten a driver penalty or some of that. We don't know if that might have been the issue. But yeah, he's now back out there again. That was also quite a long stop in the middle of 28.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty catastrophic for that car. After having, I think what they've done is they've done a driver change now. They certainly were on old tires before, and looks like he's maybe gotten some fresh ones to make up for it.
That might be it. That the tires might have been gone and might be too dangerous to drive. So yeah.
Well, we'll see if anybody from the team gives us a little bit of insight into what caused that. Going back to some of our biggest gainers in the field, another one, the 772. That is the Indian team, the Lamborghini, one of only a couple of those in the field today. The gray and black colored car. Currently scored in the, let's see, where is the 772 scored?
P13 right now.
P13. So
yeah.
We now look on board. The position change between the 15 and the 911 has finally happened. That was pretty inevitable, I'd rather say, because I mean that 911 just has so much speed. It's clearly a very fast car. As too is the number 15, but maybe the 911 just a little bit better on the front end of the stint at the moment. And I expect that Aston Martin to continue to come into its own and continue to get stronger as the laps wind down. A little bit falling, actually rather the opposite. I was thinking of the wrong car, but if we look up at the number 977, the Ferrari that we've talked a good bit about, the Glitch Motorsport car, they are up to P5. So very well done by that team. A very clean start to the race. Very impressive performance from them. They're certainly one of my favorites to be there at the end. Hopefully, they've done very well for themselves.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's the thing, keep your noses clean out there, and suddenly the race will come to you. They've had great pace, especially at the end of their stint. That car just seemed to gain more and more pace as the others kind of lost it. So great to see them out there and out into P5. They've also been helped a little bit by other drivers trying to get ahead and then suddenly falling off quite a lot. But I'm interested to see your way racing, why they've pitted again. So if any of their guys are, would help us, you know, jump into this interview. We are already always wanting to talk to you guys, you know, and if you have like, you know, if you could get in and talk a little bit about your stint, or you know, just a little bit about why you're here, or maybe if it's your first time or experience, you know, what is your story of this race, you know? We want to hear that.
Absolutely, and we welcome anybody who'd like to hop in for interview, and that goes for our ACC coordinators as well. We love hearing from them and getting to recognize them for all the hard work that they've put into getting this race event scheduled and put together. Furthermore, if there's anybody who'd like to see or talk about a particular car in the field, please do reach out and let us know as we look here at the number 22 Porsche, putting some pressure on the 771 ahead. This is a battle within the, for the top 10. This is between 11th and 10th position, and great run there from the number 22. That was a spectacular run there. Very clean through Aqua Minerale. Is he going to be able to make it happen through Varianta Alta? Ooh, that's close. Very good between the two of them. The 22's got the momentum, and that's the pass done. Very great driving from the two of them. They've done very well. That could have ended a disaster. They did a great job of cleanly racing one another.
Oh yeah, definitely. As we have a yellow flag out there. Somebody standing still.
Alright, well, let's see if we can get a replay here. It involves the 69 car. Or 690, rather. That is our pole sitter. There's a slow car ahead, the 333. Dives to the inside there. Oh, and just gets in too hard. Makes some contact there. That was maybe a little bit of aggressive driving from our pole sitter. I'm not sure that would have been what caused our caution. Let's see. We're looking now at the number 56 Aston Martin that has had its windshield wiper on for the last several minutes. Nothing there. The 137, maybe a little bit of, just a little bit of rubbing there. Nothing too crazy, but just a little bit of side-by-side rubbing.
It's the Ferrari of number 12021 that has been on the yellow flags, and they've just come out of the pits now.
Interesting, okay.
But see, our overlay is also going haywire. This is always interesting.
Mine is okay on my end, but it might be weird for you.
Yeah. Well, it always is a bit weird for me. But that's because mine is thinking logically. Yours, you know, if it not thinking logically, it's thinking like an American, and then you're just right. Yeah, typical American. That's how it is.
We go back to the front of the field, looking at our number 117 Fanta car, still making his way through traffic, and a spectacular job being done by Matt Anderson. Absolutely the class of the field right now. Interestingly enough, the fastest lap still held by the number 97 car, currently scored in position 2, a 141.702. Not sure exactly when that lap was on. But that car now only one lone BMW in the podium now. So it is currently Porsche, BMW, Mercedes at the front of the field here in our podium positions. So the Italian job doing a great job of getting towards the front of the field. They've done quite well for themselves. Very consistent, quiet. I've not really seen any incidents from them. They're one of very few drivers with no damage to their car. So kudos to them for getting into the position that they're at. Maybe under pressure from a faster car behind. That's a lapped car, though. So maybe on some fresher tires. We look at the 92 here, who was able to go wildly long on their last stint of fuel. So very well done by them. We continue to wish all these drivers the best of luck as the race goes on. That Porsche livery looking absolutely spicy. Very, very nice livery, and well done to whoever's designed that.
Yeah, and you and I are a little bit of livery connoisseurs, so we love seeing beautiful race cars out there. As the battle right here for P24 between with Remo and Helen. is getting held up in a little bit by the P2. So now it's going to be interesting to see if the Lamborghini will give space, or if he's like, I am battling for this position, go away. That could really hurt him. Or he could use it as he's...
I'm not sure he's been given much of a choice by the way.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, he might have lifted a little bit just to let the BMW just pass him there, but he will now be looking to really pounce. You know, that's one thing that you can do, because the number 55 Pink, utterly really bad looking pink car. Beautiful Aston Martin, but just a horrendous car.
I like it.
Needs to get lapped in a little bit. And you know, as he's getting that, he will lose a little bit of time, and that could be the gap there. But I think the Lambo has just lost a little bit too much time.
Yeah, that's certainly going to split up that battle from 24th to 25th position. Getting split up by our second place runner, and that Aston Martin in the background still with the windshield wiper on. I do not know how he is running with that on, because I would be absolutely annoyed with it, but kudos to him for continuing to make do with it.
It's a new tactic. I think it's a new tactic.
It's an aerodynamic advantage.
No, well, it's like trying to see if other cars think, oh, it might be raining, we need to pit. That I think that is what they're doing at the moment. They're trying to get them to pit for wet weather tires.
Yes.
Not sure how effective it is, but that could be a strategy.
Yeah, certainly didn't. That memo certainly didn't get to the number 92 car staying out for so many laps.
No. You know, but you need to take all the advantages as you can. He also has a 10-second penalty, so he definitely needs a little bit of help out there. As we see, P2 have now cleared this bunch of lap traffic.
Absolutely. So a little bit of beating a bang in there, trying to keep it nice and clean between those drivers. We look for some other kind of close battles throughout the field here. Everything really pretty spread out. That's what we expect to see at this point in time. A battle for 13th and 14th. This is between the 115 of Michel Rizzo and Akash Shataran, behind by about a second. That's one of the closest battles on track here. The number 83 continuing to try to make its way up the field. That is currently under the control of Fatih Sakraya. And that is about to actually make a move on the 920 Porsche ahead.
Just been in the car throughout the whole race, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, they've been behind the wheel here for the entire stint here. So about half a second the gap between the two of them. That's about our closest battle on track. Another one though here. Oh, and we've got a spin. Around goes the Lamborghini we were looking at and talking about before, who was looking at the 25th position, and he's just been absolutely dumped off track. Let's see if I can get a replay of what happened there. Oh, and he spins again! And that's our third place runner that might have made some contact with him there.
Reversing, he's reversed. Oh, this is a dangerous place to have it, and he's getting. Oh, he got out without having any trouble there.
No, didn't quite catch that incident. Can't get a replay, but certainly not a good way to end up for the 716. Went from fighting for 25th to now scored in the 31st position. So a massive loss for that Lamborghini team. Not what they wanted to see. Spins begot spins.
And that's what we saw there is, you know, if he had spun out there, he had put a lot of energy into those tires. And then they're just like ice when you then try and actually get throughout the corner, and you might be a little bit flustered as well, you know. oh, you're trying to save it and not lose positions, and by doing that, then you are crashing once again. Very common, very common.
Absolutely, and the number 83 continuing to try to make that position up. That was the battle we were looking at before that, just before that incident. Not able yet to get around the 920 Porsche, but putting quite a bit of pressure on in the Variante Alta. They are so close, right on top of each other. This is going to be the chance to make the move for the number 83. He is down the inside, not quite able to get there. He actually maybe lets off just a little bit, just gets the single file line. Hard under the brakes there for the 121 behind. Going to try to get some momentum down the straight here. I think the Mercedes is definitely going to be slippery down that front straightaway. We're going to see whether or not he's able to make any sort of move, but man, what a run from the Porsche ahead. That is a great exit, and the perfect way really to defend there from the 920 is just to be faster. Don't have to block so long as you could just drive away.
Yeah, and oh, as the Ferrari is just looking at the rear, and that Ferrari has really also been throughout the battles today, so see if he can get there without actually hitting the Mercedes.
And the 121 being scored all the way back in the 37th position, multiple laps down.
Yeah, definitely. So he doesn't really have a bone in this fight, but you know, it's frustrating because he's trying to get back into this race and he needs to get by these guys, but he's just stuck there because as long as they're battling, he can't really get back up there.
Absolutely, and whoa, that's close. That is nearly contact between the 83 and the 920. That was very close there coming out of Aqua Minerale. Now up, and they've swapped positions here, swapped spots. The 83 now has it. The 920 wants it, and I think that's going to be that. That's the end of that battle there, going into the Variante Alta. That was very nearly some bad contact in Aqua Minerale. Thankfully, they get through clean. And the 83 now moves up into the 18th position. Now sets his sights on Giuseppe Pasillo and the 111 Aston Martin just ahead. Not very far ahead. That's going to be a close battle. That's shaping up to be a good one.
Yeah, that will take him a couple of laps there, but nice to see the 83 actually doing a clean move for once. That has been a little bit of an Achilles heel for them, being so much braver on the brakes than anybody else, and actually being so brave in the brakes that they're just braking into people because they're not expecting them to brake as early as he's just really just eating those curbs and really within half a lap already up and ready to pounce here as the Ferrari seems to actually give them the place there. Oh goodness me. So he was a lap down and now the Aston just is under a huge amount of pressure, and this Mercedes, let's see if they can get it through here cleanly.
Certainly going to be a lot of pressure there. The 111 absolutely sideways as we ride on board, and the Mercedes AMG going to try to go to the inside with the Variante Alta. I don't think that'll end well. Might be wise to just back out of it. Oh, there's going to be contact forced into the inside, and the 111's around. Backwards goes the 111 Aston Martin, and the 83 just ends up going straight through. I gotta say though, that might have been on the fault of the 111 there. Did not seem to recognize that the 83 was there. Kind of just expected him to back out of it, and that did not end up working well. Let's take a look at the replay here. This is coming up through Aqua Minerale now. We're going to look from the helicam above. You can see dives to the outside, gets a great run out of Aqua Minerale heading up to the top of the hill at the Variante Alta, and just turns in. Does the 111 just turned in? The 83 bounces off the curbs. Nothing he can really do at that point in time, but certainly not going to be happy is the 111 team, having now fallen back all the way. That was the battle for 17th position. The 111 now all the way back to 20th, so he is back near the McLaren. Number 5, currently under the control of Hans Peter, in that very brightly colored McLaren. a little bit aggressive from the 83 to go down the inside in the Variante Alta, but to be fair, he was about halfway up the car. I'd say that might have been his corner, but I'm sure that will be something for the stewards to determine. People who are much smarter and more responsible than I.
Yeah. But yeah, I do agree with you. You know that at that point, you know, are you gonna force it to be a? It's a bit of a 50-50 because both are like, you know, forcing it to be two cars into one corner, and through that chicane, it's like there's not just one corner, it's one single line through there. So that's really difficult, and it was always gonna end up in tears, and it certainly did here. Especially see that the leader is about to get up there and lap the 83. So he is, I think he's about lapping, and he's almost lapped everybody up to P19, he's yeah, P18 and P17 are not lapped yet, so he's, you know, eating up the whole field throughout the back as well now.
Absolutely, and we now look at the 920 Porsche, currently scored in the 18th position, very cordially lets the leader go by, and the 117 continues to be absolutely untouchable. Mats Anderson now leads by a commanding, actually, what is that gap? Let's see how that has changed. A commanding 23.4 seconds. So nobody really able to put any sort of pressure on him for right now. The 62 holding station in the third position. About 3 seconds of the gap. Oh, and the 111 is spun once again.
What happened there?
Let's take a look here. Go back about 30 seconds. Let's take a look. 111 looked to be under pressure from the number 40 BMW behind, going through the Villeneuve chicane. Oh, and the number 40 just dives it in there, does make the pass initially. Oh, and then the 111 just dives it in, tries to hold position. The 40 thought he had the pass done, was not done. So that was going to be a little bit of a racing incident. The 111 being pretty aggressive there. But the 40, to be fair, being quite aggressive as well. So kind of hard to place any sort of blame there, but the plummeting continues for the 111, going from fighting in 17th just a few laps ago all the way back down to the 23rd position where they currently scored, exiting the Variante Alta and heading downhill towards Ravazza.
Yeah, and this has been, you know, a bit too aggressive trying to defend positions that might have been lost, and just getting into fights, and now you guys see the result. There's a guy losing positions. So as we are seeing the battle here between the Indians and the Russians for P14 at the moment, Lambo versus Ferrari, Italian car versus Italian car, and it's a V10 versus a V8. Amazing the difference between the cars and nationalities and driver skills and everything that we have here at AOR. They just provide us with great racing and close racing, and so yeah, but we still, with 7 hours left, there's a whole lot of racing going on, and we are getting into this morning hours, you know, now almost 7 o'clock local time. The track temperature and air temperatures increased to 23 degrees, so it is getting more and more stressful for the tires out there, as the temperature is rising, and it will rise throughout this race.
And it looks like we've had some sort of incident with the number 7 car. Going to look at the replay here, coming down the Bossa straightaway. Let's see if there's any sort of contact. I noticed on the overlay, seeing a little bit of an incident perhaps there, trying to make up positions after their unscheduled second pit stop, and yeah, it just looks like a little bit of contact going into turn 1 between them and the 777 Ferrari. A little bit of argy-bargy, but nothing too egregious. They've made do, as we see a few drivers kind of coming in and out. We're going to have to see what the stewards have to say about that. I'm sure they are still trying to sort their way through the first few laps, and I'm sure there's quite a few inquiries that they have yet to sort out. As we continue to look at some of the close battles, we move a little bit further up the field. The 7 continuing to put pressure now up into the 9th position, trying to get 8th, putting heavy pressure on the number 41 Aston Martin. Martin Ulrich currently behind the wheel of the Aston Martin, currently under heavy pressure. 0.4 of a second the gap between the two of them as they go down the straightaway. 2 front-engine V8 cars. The beefy boys at the front end, very, very good under the brakes are both of those cars. They've done a spectacular job throughout the race, have both of these drivers and teams. Very close there. The 7 not going to be able to do anything in the first chicane, but certainly wouldn't be a good place to pass anyway. Going to continue to put the pressure on for the heart of racing, Aston Martin. And that's certainly got to be one of my favorite liveries we've got out here is the number 7 car. They've done a very good job with that. Now going to look to the outside here. An interesting move. Maybe going to try the crossover coming out of the turn 7 Tosa corner. Not able to get it, but continuing to pile the pressure on. Well done there by the Your Way Racing team. Oh, that's going to be close going into the Pertella corner. Got to be clean here for Aqua Minerale. This is going to be a close battle between these two drivers. The 41 has it, the 7 wants it. The 7 continuing to put on the pressure. A great run heading into Variante Alta, but we've already seen multiple times now. Maybe not a good place to pass. He shows the nose, very sensibly gets right back into the line. They both absolutely clobber the curbs of the Variante Alta and slam back onto the gas. Going to absolutely try to push that metal through the firewall. The 7 car with a massive run heading into the Rabatza corner, headed to turn 16-17, and the pass is done. The 7 has got it. That is an excellent pass. Very well done there by the driver of the Your Way machine. Very well done, clean pass.
Yeah, and that pass has been set up throughout the whole lap. But yeah, new tires, stuff like that. We expect new tires. Up there, he's a little bit off schedule compared to the others. We've seen he has the pace to be in the top 3, so he just needs to be out there and try and see if he can get up again. But this will be a bit difficult, as actually a battle is raging on for P4 between 2 of the very beautiful livery cars that we have in the field here today with the Glitch Motorsport and the team Shumiskin. And that Porsche seems to lose a little bit of time right now, as they're actually both of them catching a little bit on the Italian job, Seiko, who's P3.
Absolutely, and they are closing in the top 5, continuing to get closer and closer. They kind of spread out. There's the ebbs and flows of racing, getting through the traffic. Some drivers getting through better than others, and in the words of John Heindahl, as we'd like to say, traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. Now, it might not be multi-class racing, but there's certainly quite a bit of variation in speed between the drivers and the teams and the setups and the cars, especially those which have been damaged and sent towards the back of the field. So it can be especially crazy when they run into big clusters of cars. If you look at the top right corner of your screen, you'll see a small track map. You've got to see where there's clusters of action going on. More spread out, of course, than when we started the race, but still quite a lot of excellent battles to take a look at as we approach the end of another racing hour. Looking here at the number 62, third place, Sergio Pimperata in the Italian job Mercedes-Benz. They've been doing a great job. A little bit of chaos up ahead there. Quite a few cars all in a cluster as he continues to get some pressure from the 92 behind. That is about to get closed down even more, I anticipate. That is quite a lot of speed that the number 92 has. Very impressive from that Porsche. They've done a great job thus far.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm just looking right now. There's been a little bit of chatter about tires and stuff like that in the Discord. Some of these teams and drivers, these long races, changing tires and stuff like this, it's all new for them. They're used to sprint races, stuff like that. So for a lot of these, this is all new, um, and that's gonna be another layer to this amazing story that is Imola Season 4 opener for the AOR GT3 Endurance Championship on Assetto Corsa Competizione. As we see right now, so you're trying to get past all of these cars. We talked about that cluster of cars. He now tries to get a lap on these drivers without losing too much time, because he does have a beautiful Porsche and a gorgeous Ferrari coming closer and closer towards him. So he needs to get by this cluster of cars, but of course they're fighting as well, and that is one of the difficult things about what he's about to do right now.
Absolutely, and he's going to have to just pick his way methodically through this traffic, hope that he doesn't get caught up in any incidents. That's going to be absolutely the key, is to keep all four corners on that car, and it goes back to the age-old adage that in order to finish first, you must first finish. So it's certainly always holds true, and I'm trying to actually take a look here at some of the points and how that's going to work, if that's based on anything throughout at certain points, like finishing positions or just overall finishing position. But I suppose we'll have to have one of our lovely coordinators come up into the booth and have a chat with us. In the meantime, we take a look at the 977 continuing to close in on the 92 Porsche. That is one fast Ferrari they've got there as they close in on the 111, who's been having some trouble in the last several laps. We're going to continue to keep an eye on that battle and battles throughout the field as we have yet another end of an hour of racing. So we're going to go ahead and have yet another Apex Online Racing hourly update. We go to the front of the field now with the 117 Porsche. Not much change here. Mats Anderson absolutely dominating the field. A spectacular job done by that driver. We move down to second place. Do have a change of driver here. Cody Blanton in the 97. That car was in second at our last hourly update, however, has had a change of driver in the very lovely fluorescently colored 97 car. We move down to third. That is our number 62 Italian job Mercedes, currently piloted by Sergio Pepperata. We move back just a little bit further to the number 92, currently under pressure from the Ferrari just behind. That's our lovely dragon-colored car. Then we have our 977 Simone De Nicola continuing to double stint that car and doing an excellent job of it, continuing to put pressure on the 92 as that battle rages on. Sixth position in a recovering drive is the number 911 Aston Martin. Constantine doing a good job of making positions back up in that King's Meat Snacks sponsored car. The 15 black Mercedes, that is Dominique behind the wheel of that car, having lost a couple of positions since the last time we talked about them. Position 8 currently held by the number 7 BMW, who we saw have to pit twice. Still a bit of a mystery on that one, trying to figure out exactly what might have been the cause of that for Mateus in the Your Way Racing machine. We move back to 9th position, currently held by the Heart of Racing sponsored number 41 Aston Martin, currently under the control of Martin Ulrich, doing a good job in the top 10 there. Slightly further back, yet another close battle, the number 22 Ryan Cooper behind the wheel of the 10th place Porsche 992 GT3. We go a little bit further back now to the 11th position. The 771 has fallen outside of the top 10, but still a strong run by that car. I'm sure just some strategy that will change for the Dive Bomb Motorsport car. Finally, we go back to 12th position. Stephen Frost behind the wheel of the number 17 Mercedes AMG. Then we go back to 13th. This is Michelle Rizzo behind the wheel of the Aston Martin number 115. They had a little bit of trouble earlier on in the race, but having a nice recovery drive. And 14th position currently held by the number 101. That team currently doing a good job. That is our biggest mover in the field, up, I believe, 27 positions now from their starting place. Very well done by that BMW team. And finally, in the 15th position, the number 777, currently under the control of Denis Stredikov, who is piloting that Ferrari 296. So that is your AOR hourly update. We take a look at some of the close battles around the field. The number 92 has actually lost the position now during that update to the 977 Ferrari, so that position has been swapped. The Ferrari up to 4th, the Porsche falls down to 5th. However, they are still certainly close in hand. Simone De Nicola continuing to drive to the front of the field, and a excellent job done at that as he approaches the spicy windshield wiper bearing Aston Martin just up ahead. Another close battle that is shaping up well is the 41-22 battle. That is for 9th and 10th position. The 22 in the slipstream of the 41 coming down the straightaway. Not quite going to be able, I don't think, to get anything into turn 1, but certainly continuing to try to set that up and utilize the slipstream to their best advantage. Maybe a little bit of trouble there. The 22 deep into turn 1, and he's missed turn 1. That's going to be a cut course there.
I think,
but
yeah,
much better than
marker.
with wrecking. Much better than wrecking with that
Yeah.
Ferrari back marker.
The back market just confused him a little bit. You know, it didn't really give him enough space early on, and then suddenly he became a little bit on where are you? And then we see the result. You know, if you are unsure, if you are just hesitating a little bit, things can go wrong very, very quickly. And for him, lucky nothing more than that happened. You know. As I'm just looking at our fantastic car here at the P1, you know, that what you can see there is just dirt from tires and oil on track, and these cars get so dirty, it's just you're never really getting them clean afterwards again. But he's still managing just to put in amazing lap times, and we're actually having a little bit of an issue with the Ola, I can see, because on mine, Mats has just put in his fastest lap of 141.5, and the best lap is a 141.8 from Courtney, so he is faster at the moment.
While continuing to show his dominance at the front of the field, we've actually had a request to take a look at the number 55 car, so we'll go ahead and do that. Number 55 car, this is the very pink Aston Martin that is currently piloted by Remco Langedick. That is, let's see, which team is that? Old school piece of paper here. That is Victoria's Secret. Very appropriately named car, and actually quite a great lineup. Actually, I really like this lineup. That's a great variety. Looks like we have a UK driver, Dan Minton, a Spanish driver, Diego Zamora, French driver, Jean-Paul Ribeiro, the Dutch driver, currently behind the wheel, Remco Langedick, and Igor 55, the German driver. They're filling out their group. That is not light red. That is absolutely pink. Somebody in chat said that's light red. No, it is not. Absolutely not.
No.
Vito, that is absolutely pink. You are incorrect.
No, yeah. That is no. It is actually a satin matte pink, baby pink, and I'm just these cars. You know, we have a, as you can see, Mercedes behind him. What car is that right behind him?
That is one of the. That is the 333, maybe? No, that is one of the lower back cars here. That is the 284. Eric Larson.
284. That is just wow.
That is many colors.
That is many colors, and none of them really pretty. It gets, you know, you can see it from outer space with the amount of colors, and wow, a neon car.
I like it.
It yeah.
You blind the competition.
You do blind the competition. But no, I would rather just overtake it and get it as far away from me as possible. I will say that could be amazing. Some of the teams have got, if it was in the dark, and the car light lit up, that would be amazing. Um, and I want to see that at some point from Mercedes. In real life, Mercedes, get this paint scheme and let's get that lit up, as car number 56 has gotten a 10-second penalty.
Well, also of note, the battle now is for third position. The climb to the top is continuing for the 977. This is Simone Nicola absolutely piling on the pressure to the Italian job driver, trying to hold on to that last podium position, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to. That Ferrari is bad fast. That is
It really
absolutely on top of each other.
But that again, also the 911 has passed the 92 while we've been off. So the 92 is just losing positions at the moment. He's only done a 143.6, so that's a second or two slower than the other guys. So he is slower out there at the moment.
Though he does also have a good bit more fuel still in the car, about 2-3 laps more fuel. So it's about 2-3 laps of fuel heavier than the cars around him. Certainly not enough to justify a second or so difference in pace, but certainly something of note. And that 977 is absolutely rapid. I am really liking what I'm seeing out of this car and out of this team.
That might be the tires that we were talking about, the Porsche tires. They might be trying to double spin those, so that could. As we are having P8, I saw yellow flags with them. They've lost the position to Ulrich. So there might have been a little bit of contact there, just for the reference. But Simon is just really, now he's piling under pressure. He's gotten the run out of the last corner onto the straightaway, slipstream all the way down the main straight. Let's see if he can pass the Moustache, or if he will, he will stay behind there. But it is hitting those curves a little bit too hard, and he's going off to the grass and onto the gravel, just keeping control over that car, and a back marker, maybe trying to overtake, just letting him get back into the groove. But now he needs to do it all over again. Oh my goodness, as we have the number 17 coming into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty in P12. This is Steven for Toaster Racing. So that has been, I think that's just down to off tracks.
Absolutely. Now, on the topic of penalties, a couple more that have come in from the stewards panel. Incident involving cars 83 and 545 on lap 20. 10-second time penalty has been given to car number 83. We've seen that car involved in quite a lot. Furthermore, the 176 and 760 had some contact. 15-second time penalty has been given to the number 176, including 2 license points, as they were responsible for causing an avoidable accident. So we continue on, and the 977 going to have to try to make up that time that was lost. I reckon basically just got a little bit excited there and was trying to make a move, overdrove the corner just a little bit, but thankfully that's a mistake that you can make and still recover from. Certainly isn't something where he ends up in the barrier and loses that race and loses the opportunity with such a fast car underneath him.
Oh no, definitely. But we are looking. Sergio is now stuck behind these two unlapped traffic, and they need to move out of the way because we do have blue flags here. And he must be frustrated, but he's also driving under the influence of a moustache. As we see the Ferrari just diving to the inside of the 333 BMW, that horrendously weird colored BMW, and as he's now getting past the Ferrari as well, and even though he was under the influence of moustache, he is able to put it into lap times and getting through lap traffic.
Absolutely, and that gap continues to fluctuate through the traffic. Under 2 seconds, the gap between the two of those drivers. As we look for some closer battles down the field. Ooh, yeah, a little bit off track there. He's got to take a breath. He's got to just calm down, take a breath. He lost about half a second of time there. But being off track is not going to get you any further up the field. One thing I was looking at here is a little bit of a battle between the 920 and the 83 a little bit further back. The 920 trying to come back on the 83 car after a little bit of a kerfuffle between the two cars earlier on. But it looks like the 83 going to hold that position, at least for the time being. We've got some side-by-side action for all the way back in the 29th position. Battle for 28th, 29th, and 30th. The 129 and 111 all going at it. They're all side-by-side. This is a battle for position between all three cars. Two Ferraris leading one Aston Martin. The 120 is going to get the best of the other two and take the 28th position for now. That is going to at least end that battle until they get down to the end of the hill at Ravazza. We'll see how much better the Aston Martin is going to be under braking. Not much better, actually. They're about even there, and they're going to go down the straightaway, all basically covered underneath a blanket. This is going to be an interesting one to see here from the helicopter cam. Let's see if the number 9 is able to get any sort of a run heading into turn 1. Certainly the Ferraris one-on-one are going to be interesting to see, having pretty equal speed coming down the straightaway. The 9 shows the nose, but brakes early, in fact. And you can see, wow, just how deep that Aston Martin is able to get into the corner by comparison. That's not even close.
No, definitely not.
Moving up a little bit.
I'm gonna ask out into the to the strategy out there if we can get a little bit of talk with some of the teams. We always want to hear from you guys. You know, how are your race going and how's your day? What are your setups? Everything as we're seeing side by side. The 920 getting by the Mercedes now and now trying to hold that position, try to get up through the field. He has been a guy that has been passed quite a lot throughout this race, actually. Not being overly aggressive, but maybe now that Porsche have gotten its stride and the speed is getting back into that car now.
Absolutely, and they continue to battle for position. I think the 920 pretty confidently has it now at this point. We look a little bit further up the field, the number 22, putting pressure once again on the 15. You saw this battle be close earlier until some lap traffic got involved, so the 22 finally making up that time and getting back into that one-on-one battle. It goes back to the adage of traffic giveth and traffic taketh away, and not too far ahead of them both is the number 41, about 1.3 seconds gap between those cars, so that's about to be a three-way battle for positions 7 through 9. A good gap between them and the 771, who currently holds the 10th position further back. Very close here going into the Villeneuve chicane. Oh, that's very smart of the Porsche. Don't dive in there. He was close enough, he maybe could have sucked the nose in, but very sensibly backed out of it, and is going to save that move for later on in the lap. Going to take his time, try to set that up. And in the meantime, we've got one car on the pit lane. That is the 911, who we expect to see earlier. He has been the earliest pitter in the last cycle as well, so that is certainly to be expected, and he's a little bit off cycle with the rest of the field. Looking a little bit further back now, the 920 putting a bunch of pressure on the Indian-driven Lamborghini. That's the 772 currently under pressure. They were as close as a tenth of a second apart, so barely anything between them at one point or another. We look now further up. The battle between the 22 and the 15 continues raging on. They're doing a spectacular job of keeping it clean. Those two drivers are. As further up, Simone De Nicola in the 977 once again continuing to try to make up the time that he lost in the lap traffic and from his mistake earlier on. No harm done, though, with no damage on that car, at least for the time being. Looking now with the 920 car.
Yeah, and he's just getting closer and closer, and I was just looking at if this might be a new driver. Oh, as we see, the 137 car has got a drive-through as well, and that was what we heard
as well at the beginning, at the stream and also from the Super Bowl, that these off tracks cuts are really gonna cost you because you are not allowed too many of them before you get, and this is where the penalty is so severe. You get a drive through around here. That's extreme. You can hit somebody and lose 10 seconds, but if you get a drive through, that's a lot of time. And you're not really gaining. And so he's going from the outside into the first chicane. This is gonna be interesting. Who's the last of the late breakers? Oh, and they're gonna go side by side throughout the chicane. And the 83 is definitely gonna try and see if he can get his nose back in there. This is gonna be incredibly close between all of these three cars, and the Lambo just lost two positions there. So they will not be happy about that.
No, absolutely not. That's a little bit of aggressive driving, but they've still managed to make it work as we see the Lamborghini off into the gravel a little bit to the right-hand side. The 83 has just been in the middle of everything, hasn't it? That Mercedes certainly has speed, but just needs to get cleanly through the field. Currently scored all the way down to the 17th position after being, I believe, in the top 10 a little bit earlier on. The sun continuing to rise over the Italian countryside and certainly getting out of the driver's eyes quite a bit more, I'm sure. Well done on that end of things. Right now, relatively clean between everything, getting closer and closer between the 22 and the 15. That battle continues to rage on. And actually, in fact, we should go look up a little bit further. The pass has been made. The pass for third has been made. The Ferrari has now made it all the way up into the third position. Excellently done by Simone there. A great drive. A couple of mistakes, but has been able to just take a deep breath, recover, get himself back together, and has made an excellent drive up towards the front of the field. Very, very well done by that Ferrari team, rather. They've done a spectacular job. In terms of other drivers we should expect from them, let's actually take a look here from the Glitch Motorsport. All Italian drivers, but for one, Patrick Pellegrino, a Swiss driver, in the car as well.
The moustache is getting into the pits. The moustache is pitting.
That really marks the beginning of our second pit cycle here. Our second place runner as well.
P2 is in the pits as well. The Porsche in front is just gonna go straight to Mars before he is gonna pit. Number 7 is pitting again. This is his third pit stop. So yeah, really interesting to see if that first one might have been a penalty that he's got.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll get to see that 7 car continue to drive his way up the field. That is a very, very fast car. We look now at the number 22. This battle has been going on from lap after lap. The 22 has got to be tired of seeing the rear end of that black Mercedes out the windshield. He's got to be ready to go try and chase that 41, but he's really got to just methodically try to catch up to and pass the Mercedes-Benz ahead of him. A great clean battle between the two of them. Very, very well done, those two drivers. Kudos to both of them for being able to do this so consistently, lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, definitely, and that's just, consistency in this race is what we needed, and that clean race, as we had talked about, with Simon, as we go back up and look at the Ferrari, at the beginning he was nowhere, absolutely nowhere, or nowhere. He was outside of the top 10, but he's just slowly waited until the field got a bit more spread, and then he pounced. Then he went in like, all right, now I'm going for it. The 92 was on a tear, getting up throughout the field, and it's now in P3, but a lot of the cars has pitted in front of it, so it is still just outside of that top 5. Hey guys, as we have now the AMG, the number 15 of the team, Balls Ukraine,
car in the pits, and it's all going down here. His car he's been in the wars as well. The rear is still a little bit hurt, and he will go slowly into the pits. And we still have the Aston Martin with the windscreen wiper going on there. They're still waiting for that rain. 911 is out on track and haven't had their second pit stop, so interesting to see where they will end up after this pit stop cycle. Their recovery drive is definitely amazing.
Absolutely, and the 911 continuing to try to make a drive forward. They've been doing a great job of it, trying to be clean. I know it was maybe a little bit of a controversial incident between the two of them. I'll be interested to see what the stewards have to say about that incident, but thus far, I would say, you know, they've done a very good job of trying to make a clean and methodical work back up towards the front of the field. They've done really quite well. So, we continue to see that battle now. That is the 17 behind, putting a little bit of pressure on for position, but I think the 911 maybe has the pace at this point. We now see that the 977 has gone up to the second position as a result of the pit cycle. The 97 BMW came in and took fuels and tires. So any of those cars that have been double stinting tires are certainly going to be very glad to be able to do so. An excellent job, well done by that team. Immaculately well executed. And I certainly would say they are one of our cars to watch as we move along here. Still in the lead by a dominating distance. Actually, it is... I mean, so far the overlay won't even acknowledge how far it is. Oh, yes, because the 117 has come into the pit lane. So that brings us into basically the end of this pit cycle here.
Yeah, and what we see is 46 seconds is what we have on the timer. He is almost a pit stop ahead of the other guys. That's just how dominating this Fanta car has been. And this Fanta Mobile has just really gone away with everything. And that has really been from the get-go. He took the lead at the start of the race. He was starting P2, but his line was... He got a better start and then overtook the leaders even before turn 1. And from that moment on, he's not looked back. He's just gone on. But right now we actually have a Ferrari, the new Ferrari, in the lead, and exciting to see that even though that in the real world that the car is a bit of a dog to drive, it is great in the game. He has the Toaster Racing. Have actually crawled the way a bit up after some penalties and stuff like that, and they're pushing on, getting closer and closer and closer to the 911, who is just still trying to, I think, maybe get a little bit of heat into those tires.
Absolutely, and I'm sure he's going to be shaking that car back and forth, trying to go hard on the brakes. And the brakes as well are something that we maybe don't think about quite as much as when they come in for those pit stops. They are absolutely losing some of that stickiness and that heat in the brakes. That is vitally important. Now, you don't want to overheat them, but certainly is a big part of what makes these cars perform on such a high level. So that's something they also have to try to overcome.
Oh, he's braking. Oh, that's contact.
He's sideways. A little bit of contact there. No harm, no foul. They continue to race on. But man, that was close to disaster.
Wow, and the Mercedes, that's what we see. They can follow each other so closely, and if they just get a little bit out of shape, sometimes they're not able to react to it. And that's what we saw there. As I saw a little bit of a lot of movements in the positioning down here in P14, 15, and there's a big group of cars going side by side. That's a
whole lot of cars. Almost.
Ooh, somebody has been into the kill leader just a little bit. Who is that? We have a slow Mercedes and the P2.
That is the 15. He's gotten back around the Ferrari somehow.
Oh.
Oh, actually, the Ferrari hasn't pit yet. So that's
No, so
actually
he's-
nearly a lap down. That car
Yeah.
is based on the pit strategy. That had to have been a slow stop by the 15 or something, because there is no way it should be a full lap that they've lost on a pit stop.
Well, they do lose. A pit stop does take about a minute. So they should lose quite a lot. So I think that, but right now the Ferrari guys need to think about, all right, do we wanna have the long as is going all over the place behind them? Do we wanna pit now, or do we wanna keep on fighting with these back partners? Sometimes that extra lap or two that you're getting isn't really worth it. So let's see if he's starting. He's still keeping on and fighting with all of these cars. Here we have the was that the 55? Yeah, the 55 Victoria's Secret car. Now looking to try and see if he can get by the number 15 and see if he can unlap himself. No, he will stay behind. Oh, as the Ferrari in the background was just a little bit slidey there.
A little bit slidey there from the pink car. Not anything too crazy here. But it looks like we've got quite a few cars coming through the chaos. Just about coming up on 6.5 hours, at which point Nick and I will take a little bit of a break here in the broadcast booth. You will still have all the action coming to you on the Apex Online Racing YouTube channel. We thank you for being with us and joining us for the opening round of the Apex Online Racing ACC PC Endurance Championship Season 4. Isn't that a mouthful? So we thank you for being with us. And as we take a look here, Simone De Nicola still holding the lead right now, having not yet pit. Two other cars not yet pit. That is the 92 and 22, simply because Robin Moe has taken over the 117 car. That was our previous leader, so those are the only three cars still ahead. It'll be interesting to see when we return exactly how things turn out with a few different driver changes. The 117 currently trying to actually overtake Ryan Cooper for position, despite Ryan Cooper not even having taken a pit stop yet. About 2 seconds the gap there between those two cars. We look back at our leader now. Let's see. No, he will not pit. He's going to continue on going. We look off at the rear wing of that car headed into turn 1. And with that, we are going to go ahead and leave you all for about an hour's time. We'll be back shortly. Go ahead and leave this on autopilot for all of you to enjoy. And once again, we thank you for being with us. And we'll see you soon in about an hour's time.